Yuka Sakazaki announcing that she will be leaving TJPW at the end of this year. She'll be graduating, I believe was the exact saying. She'll be graduating from TJPW this year, moving on to America, which I think everyone can figure out will be AEW. AEW, of course, has had Yuka Sakazaki signed pretty much since day one. Of course, Yuka was one of the Joshi wrestlers that were brought in around the time they started up. She was in the triple, I believe it was a trios match, if I'm not mistaken, on the first ever event, Double or Nothing. So there's your news there. But this is obviously a gigantic deal. We can't just, blow past the fact that Yuka Sakazaki is on her way out of TJPW. That is massive. If you've watched TJPW, if you've ever heard me really talk about the promotion, Yuka's almost always a main focus of that. Of course, most recently she was a Tokyo Princess Cup winner last year, went on to win the Princess of Princess Championship from Shoko Nakajima at Wrestle Princess, and she lost the title to Mizuki at Grand Princess. And of course, I talked about that match in depth, kind of highlighting how she, I don't want to say made it all about her, but it felt like it was all about her. When she lost, a lot of the focus was on her rather than Mizuki. It felt like, of course, her and Mizuki would go on to TJPW live in Los Angeles to become tag team champions once again, and seemingly for the final time. They are currently holding the tag titles. They beat Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito, but this is a big deal, and it's time we break down what this means for TJPW, what this means for Yuka Sakazaki. I've seen everyone's thoughts coming in to this. I've seen everyone's thoughts. I think a lot of people kind of assumed this was a possibility, right? She's always been signed to the AEW contract. It's pretty much why anytime they've needed her, she's headed to the US, right? For months at a time. I believe she's doing that right now. But it was almost like a matter of time. I think a lot of people expect the same with Maki Ito. Of course, Miyu Yamashi's over there for a 3-month run as we speak here in America, right? But Yuka's been, along with Yamashita, pretty much the face of TJPW for a decade, and they're celebrating their decade decade as a company this year. Her final day will be on December 1st, 2023, and there's, like I said, a lot to get into. Yuka Sakazaki has already said that she will not be returning to a Japanese promotion, at least a Joshi promotion. She detailed how she feels it's unfair to TJPW to do such a thing. So that's already out of the question. She said she hasn't fully ruled out that she could return to Japan and compete in a company. It just won't be TJPW. So instantly when I thought about that, and I know this is probably the furthest off part of this entire conversation, right? But I do think that Pro Wrestling Noah, and Noah's creating something with a women's division. I think that would be her main option if she were to ever come back to the Japanese wrestling scene. I think that would be her top option. Of course, returning to TJPW and kind of saying a final goodbye is always an option too, but I don't see that coming up anytime soon. But now let's talk about Yuka Sakazaki and what's next for her, right? So Yuka, AEW feels clear as day, right? I don't think that would shock anybody. I think I would be shocked to hear it would shock anybody, truthfully. She is ready to take this step. She is a different wrestler, I think, in the US than she is in Japan. In Japan, we've seen her kind of become, right, this dominant force. In the US, she can kind of play a little bit to the underdog, magical girl character that she's created in AEW. She's a fan favorite, obviously. People love, singing her song I and stuff like that. But I think the main idea here is this is her new challenge, and she's long needed a new challenge. She has accomplished everything to do in TJPW. I don't think she won the International Princess Championship, but come on, that's no offense, that's not worth staying around for. She's done everything though. And going to AEW now full time, a place where she has continuously worked, makes all the sense in the world to me. It really does. I don't see why she would stay if she feels she's completed everything which she has set. Um, to me, her part of this is like the easiest parts. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Now it's the TJPW side that we want to get into. This is the part I really want to talk about. I think Yuka Sakazaki leaving TJPW is what's best for TJPW. And I say that as someone who has interviewed Yuka Sakazaki. I say that as someone who likes Yuka Sakazaki. They were never going to push themselves further, right? They were never going to push themselves further with her and the pillar's still there. It just wasn't going to happen. She was a 3-time champion. She was always going to be at the top of this company unless she left. And this now forces TJPW to be creative and trust new people. Instantly, when I saw this, I said, okay, Miyu Watanabe obviously moves up. Watanabe is not only your next pillar, she's your next ace. Like she is that person that is now there for you to fill in for Miyu Yamashita as well. Miyu Yamashita is not here right now. Yuka Sakazaki is leaving at the end of the year. It's time to trust in these people. Uh, it's essential. It's important. The TJPW Booker Koda, he named Yuki Arai, Suzume, Miyu Watanabe, and who was the last one? Of course, I don't have it in my head that will kind of help take over moving forward or push forward. Um, Mizuki, maybe it was Mizuki. Either way, it's important that at least there's an idea. But there were comments too that I wasn't totally sold on, and I think a lot of people might know what I mean here. And that's the idea that people are expendable, people are ready to move on. And I get the idea of having, right, this is an idol company and idols have always been part of wrestling, but the idea, right, that people are almost expendable. I don't love that because it kind of tells the TJPW roster, in my eyes, one thing rather than, oh, we're going to believe in you, we're going to push you guys. And that's always been a problem for TJPW. I still think Yuka leaving is going to be a success for them because now they have to do something different. Miyu Yamashita is not always there. Maki Ito is not always there, right? You have Rika Tatsumi and Shoko Nakajima seemingly there at all times. But otherwise, that's how I feel about this situation. I think TJPW has a good rookie core, right? Himawari, Kana Uehara, Toga, and then the two kids, Shino Suzuki as well. That's a good rookie class. Like that's a lot of rookies to hopefully work into the future. I have said on the show, I think Wakana Uehara is going to be a star for them. They're building up Yuki Arai as we speak. Suzume just had an International Princess Championship match. And Miyu Watanabe is becoming a superstar in front of our eyes. There's good direction, but now you have to finish the job with these folks, right? We can't have multiple years of a Mizuki where she loses despite having the big opportunities and then finally get it. Because to me, the Mizuki payoff didn't feel worth it. Is she doing really well as a champion right now? Absolutely. That was never a question. It was getting her into that spot that was always at question. It's time for TJPW to believe in their new talent, to believe in young talent, to believe in other talent that isn't the pillars with Yuka Sakazaki on her way out. It's essential. It's essential for this company, for a company that calls themselves the number 2 Joshi promotion in the world. And listen, no offense to TJPW, they're not competing right now with Stardom. It's just they have different mindsets, these two businesses. They do great in the US and they're both very popular, as they should be. They're both very different. But TJPW needs to start considering maybe bringing out their checkbooks and signing talent to TJPW. Something to bolster up the roster that I think they've molded into a pretty good roster overall. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And that's what I'm hoping that they do. TJPW without Yuka Sakazaki is going to be okay. And it should be okay. It should be able to benefit from her exit because she's been there for so long and has done everything and has been in the top every moment of the way. It felt like a roadblock sometimes. Now it's time to push your young talent. You have no other option. Maki Ito could be out the door at any time too. I'm not saying they will, but Maki Ito obviously has a love for what she's done in America. She's very popular here in America. She likes working AEW. She said to me in an interview she doesn't want to go there too much to lose the magic that is Maki Ito. That being said, you never know. And same goes with Miyu Yamashita, who has been there for 3 months now. Maybe she loves it, maybe she doesn't. I think Miyu Yamashita should at least be sticking around TJPW in some form. If she were to ever leave, I'd hope it would be more like a Konosuke Takeshita situation rather than what Yuka's doing. Yuka's moving on full force. So, congratulations to Yuka on the move. TJPW, it's time. Don't wait till she's gone. Start now. Princess Cup, you have all these things to start building people. Get to it. You had Mizuki win the title. Mizuki's your champion. You have a pillar still as your international princess champion, but that's okay. You need to still have building blocks like that. Believe in your talent. Push your talent forward because you have talent. If you do that, you can succeed. You can get to levels that you should maybe already be at in terms of your roster. You have a talented roster that I think a lot of people are excited to see go out there and shine. So that's what I feel. I think this is a great move by Yuka, and it's a great move for TJPW as long as they capitalize on it. Yes, losing your star is going to always hurt in terms of ticket sales and business, but you can build your stars back up to be okay, and I think that's what they could do. Listen, I've seen Stardom do this, right? They lost Io Shirai, they lost Kyrie. Those things hurt, but they bounce back. They're bigger than ever now. TJPW, you can do the same. Yuka Sakazaki, good luck in America. I can't wait to see her in AEW and maybe the Indies. I think she really exceeds here in America, so I'm excited for that new chapter for her as well. And this is a great decision all around. I think it will be beneficial to all sides in the long term.